Good evening and welcome to Red Army TV. Hopefully you're joining us on a new platform tonight on YouTube Live. Like, comment, share, do all that type of stuff. Get as involved as you like and tell everyone about all the fantastic things that we're doing. Meanwhile, back in the studio, joined tonight by Ian Galloway and Dave Roberts. Pleasure. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, gentlemen. We're going to be talking mainly about the game last week away at Ewood Park. Middlesbrough's win at Blackburn. Looking forward to the QPR game. Looking forward to a few games we've got coming up as well, and a couple of little things, little issues that you know surrounding the club. Dave, you went to Blackburn. What were your thoughts of the performance in total?
Satisfied overall. I thought we had a good first half. Things went our way, got the early goal, but we played on the front foot from the start, and that was the difference. So we put them under a bit of pressure, and they really didn't get into the game. We did to Blackburn what Villa did to us, what Forest did to us. We got in their faces. We had the ball. We starved them of possession, and we looked a little bit more attacking, playing the ball through and forward. But that's John Obi Mikel, isn't it? He gets the ball and he's looking forward and he's looking for that pass.
I wanted to touch on Mikel's influence on the game later on in our little chat, so we will do. I didn't ask Al, did you go to the Blackburn game or not?
No, I couldn't get there last minute. I had something come up, but I've obviously looked at all the stats, as I've no doubt you have.
Yeah.
My only worry is a lot of possession, God, how many shots on goal compared to them?
Yeah.
Still only one goal. That does panic me. It really does panic me.
I mean, statistics only tell half the story. If you look at them in total, you could look at the flip side of that and think, well, we've created chances, we've had chances on goal. I'm sure somebody will tell us that we've probably had games where we've created nothing, and we've probably been to games where we've created nothing and ended up with a very little number of shots on goal. But no, we'd have liked more than one. Before the game, there was a bit of a question over who was going to start at the back, because we had obviously Ayala and Flint out, and we played with a bit of a makeshift back three and wing backs. Gal, were you expecting the result to go our way, or was there a bit of a worry before the match?
I wasn't surprised what he did at the back. I was more surprised what he did at the front. I was very surprised that Fletcher and Britt started. That caught me right out, and I'd be a brave fella that said they predicted that before the kick-off, because I don't think there's many people out was talking on forums and things like that. But at the back, people forget that Shot and Friend, they are centre-backs.
Yeah.
You know, they come to Boro centre-backs, not defenders. So
Pulis does like a tall defender, doesn't he?
He does. They are kind of interchangeable to a certain degree, but I think the surprise for me was Howson. Dave, what has he done? Has he done that before at Leeds?
I thought he had a great game. I thought Howson had a great game. He was, there were a handful that you could say really shone, and he was one of them. I don't know whether he's done it before, but he looked very comfortable. He really looked comfortable, like getting forward as well. He wasn't slow getting out the blocks. So as you'd see George in previous years bombing up and down, you know, Johnny Howson didn't mind getting the ball and pushing it forward. Yeah.
Well, I mean, he does seem to be one of those players. Wherever he plays on the pitch, he does drive forward, and he does like a run, and he's not short of effort. I think he said after the game that he was asked by the BBC T's reporter, you know, did you enjoy it? Obviously, he said yes because we won. You know, will he carry on with that role? Do you think we might have a bit of a dilemma next game? I know I'm jumping ahead of ourselves a little bit.
Well, George is out, isn't he? So we've got a couple of vacancies at the back. So he could well do. I mean, if you stick somebody in there at a different position and they perform well, it gives you as a manager confidence you can do it again, doesn't it?
I think it's like anything. If you get the chance, you take it with both hands. And I think that's where he might look at Howson before he looks at McNair, because I think he's had the chance and not really shone in it. So, you know, it's better the devil you know. And at the minute, if Howson's come up with and he's been about a bit, Howson. People forget he's what you would class as a steady Eddie in the team. You know, he'll give you the steady 7 every game, but you won't get past that. So yeah, I think he'd be quite comfortable at right back.
Gal, you touched on a bit of a burgeoning partnership there between Fletcher and Assombalonga up front. Now, personally, I've kind of fought Fletcher's corner a couple of times on the show, and Pulis has come out himself and he said that there is a player there, provided he kind of expresses himself a bit more on the pitch. They looked good up front though, to the pairing, didn't they?
I think it was interesting. I was listening to Jimmy Floyd afterwards, and he was talking about partnerships, and he was mainly on about Britt, but I think it applies to Fletcher exactly the same. You've got to give him a run of games.
Yes,
you can't just say 1 or 2 games and yank him straight, because all it does is dent to confidence. And you know, they get paid thousands. Forget the money. the person and confidence, if you're doing something regular and getting a good chance at it, you'll be fine. The minute you do something wrong and you've hooked off, you lose your confidence.
And there's absolutely no reason why I can't continue that run, is it? I mean, QPR we'll talk about a bit later, but, you know, garbage run of form at the moment, bereft of any confidence whatsoever. So why not give him that run and keep the two of them together? But I've got to nail my colours to the mast. When he had that chance 1-1 with the keeper, I was praying he wouldn't score, because I had Britain 1-0 doubled up. So I'm there going, I'm in the money. Don't score, mate. Yeah, so I'm happy with 1-0.
We touched on this before we came on air. You know, it's odd to be in that position where you're praying not to score, but when you've got a quid on, and it's never more than a quid. We're not big gamblers. When you've got a quid on, you've got to.
It was only a quid.
You've got to protect the quid, haven't you? Yeah, you've got to protect the quid.
When you've known Mike Yafano and Dave Roberts as long as I have, mate, they turn the gas off to turn the bacon over. They are tight people. Say no more.
Oh, bacon. But no, anyway, Assombalonga, you're talking about confidence, you're talking about a run of games in the team. I can't remember whether it was Jimmy Floyd or one of the other pundits after the game, but they'd made a great point that Assombalonga was on his toes and he was steaming in to try and pick that rebound up. Dave, do you think it's a sign of his confidence that he was there?
He's our best striker. I know Hugill huffs and puffs and puts in a really decent shift, and that matters to us on Teesside, but Britt's our best striker. He is, without doubt. We've just played him. Ever since we got him, we just haven't played him to his capabilities. He's not a hold the ball up with your back to a defender man. He's running through, he's picking up scraps, he's doing what he did at West Brom, couple of mistakes, and wham bam, he's got a brace. We'll see more goals out of Britt this season if he sticks with Fletcher alongside him, or if he sticks Hugill alongside him. If he's got that support and there's things to pick up, we'll see better out of him.
Yeah, I must agree. I often agree with a lot of points on this show. Gal, are you old school? Do you think two up front?
Yeah, well, I think he's thought about that, because if you look at the Newport game, he went with Hugill and Britt up front, didn't he? So it's obviously in his mind, it's in his head somewhere that he's thinking. Because my big thing is, at home, we are set up to counter-attack. And any team that comes to us, set up to counter-attack, we just cancel each other out.
Yeah.
And any team that says, you know what, we're going to go for these, like you said, Nottingham Forest went for us, bloody Millwall went for us, we just didn't look good. So I think we need two up the front to stop them coming at us. Really do.
Yeah,
and I think your man, what's his name, John Obi Mikel, gives you that stability.
Brilliant.
That your midfielder push forward.
I was going to come on to him. Dave, you've waxed lyrical about Mikel, Mikel's performance.
I couldn't believe the comments. When he first signed, I couldn't believe the comments that were coming in saying, we need a striker, don't need another midfielder. This guy is quality, and the effect he's having on the players around him and the rest of the shape of the team is streets ahead of what we could have bought. Yeah, all right, you know, we've pulled him from China, he came 70% fit. He's getting up to full match fitness now, but he's just calm, he's composed. At the weekend, there were 3 Blackburn players around him and the ball dropping out of the sky. And he took it, one touch. He's turned the ball in the opposite direction from where the guys were going, and he's away and he's creating space. We've never had any... Clayton can't do that. You know, Lead Boots couldn't do that when he was with us. We didn't have that sort of player.
Yeah.
And fantastic signing. I can't sing highly enough of him.
His CV speaks for itself for me.
Definitely.
You just look at his CV, and you know, and you know,
and he looks forward.
He's
looking ahead. He's wanting to play the ball forward.
He's used to playing with quality players, and this is where I feel sorry for Hugill, because Hugill is a battering ram, but gets kicked to him at 600 foot up. He brings it down in his chest, nothing to do with it.
He's got a fantastic touch.
Exactly.
He really has got a fantastic touch.
Mikel won't do them passes. He'll do them on the deck, which would suit Britt better.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, against Leeds at home and Blackburn, again, like yourself, Gal, I only saw the highlights, but watching the game, when you're in the crowd and you can see the players moving, you can probably get a better view than most of the players down at pitch level. You can maybe pick a pass up before the players do. Mikel's probably the only player I can remember that can pick a pass up that no one in the stadium can see coming. He played a great ball through for Assombalonga against Leeds. It was just maybe a yard ahead of him. That ball through, you saw it in person.
Oh, it's tremendous.
That ball through for Stuart Down in the second half.
I tell you how good he is. I took Mrs. R, and she hasn't been in an awful lot of games. But I'd said to her before, our number 2, he's...
Because you sit there with a mic when you watch
it, yeah. That number 2, he's new. Watch him. And within about 10 minutes, she went, he's head and shoulders above the rest. And she doesn't know an awful lot about football. At the end of the game, she went, he's my favourite player.
Yeah.
Bang. That's
hopefully that'll not only improve the way we're playing as a team, and he'll create from deep. He will create. Maybe that'll rub off. Give the players a little bit more confidence. Think about someone like Lewis Wing, who 2-3 years ago was playing Northern League football. Now he's playing alongside a player that's won pretty much everything that they can win. That's got to rub off on him, and he's got to be thinking, come on, I can learn something here.
Downing has that effect on the team. When Downing first come back, he had exactly the same effect. There was players there that were not as confident as you thought they might have been. Downing does that to the team as well.
Wingy can sit that little bit further forward as well because he's got Mikel behind him. You know, and we saw that at Blackburn. Wingy he's about 5 or 6 yards further forward than he would have been because he's got Mikel behind him and Mikel's just playing it.
We are going to take a quick break. Welcome back to Red Army TV. With us, we've got Ian Galloway, Dave Roberts again. We were, just before the break, finishing our little chat about the Blackburn game away at Ewood Park. We were just about to sing Lewis Wing's praises. Dave, how important is he becoming to the team? Is every game he seems to be more and more involved?
When he first ran out at the Riverside and we were watching him, he was so raw. He was as raw a diamond as you'll ever get. He was running around like a headless chicken. But
but I loved it.
But now, yeah, so did I.
He was tackling anyone within 30 yards. It was brilliant.
But now he's becoming a main part of how we perform. If he has an off day, the team has an off day. And I saw him at Blackburn, and he's sitting that little bit further forward. He's getting the ball, he's playing it through, he's having a go himself. He's just so positive, and it makes such a difference. And as we touched on just before the break, with Mikel behind him, he's becoming even better, an even better player.
I was just about to ask Gal, you were talking about Mikel being the head and shoulders above everybody else, and the kind of skills and qualities he brings to the team, and his CV speaks for itself. Do you think having him in the team's given Lewis Wing a bit more freedom and maybe even a bit more guidance with his experience?
I think the big thing is I don't want to knock Clayton because he's done a good job for us, but the one thing that Clayton doesn't have is pace. So if Clayton gets caught, someone has to get back in there.
Well, that's what at Millwall, wasn't it? Yeah.
And that would be Wing's job, wouldn't it, to get to cover him over. So if he went too far forward, he'd be frightened. Where with Mikel, I don't think that's an issue.
He doesn't get caught, Mikel. That's the
He's
thing.
not exactly.
So Wingy automatically is thinking, that's where I'm going.
Yeah. I just think beginning of the season, if someone said, "Oh, he's struggling with an injury," you wouldn't have been bothered. Now they see struggling with an injury, "Oh God, I hope he's playing." Yeah. And that's the difference.
Definitely.
And he's definitely earned the right to be in that starting 11 week in, week out.
Definitely. But as I said, every week he seems to be, a bit more and more important and more involved in what's going on. So, Blackburn. I know we're not a Blackburn channel, we're Boro orientated, but Tony Mowbray is on the back of 4 straight defeats as Blackburn manager. Leads us nicely into our match this weekend. We've got another ex-Middlesbrough manager coming to the Riverside in Steve McLaren, who was on the back of 6 league defeats. Would it be typical Boro for us to be beaten on Saturday? What are you expecting? Dave will come to you first.
No chance. I would have said it earlier in the season, but you could have said exactly the same going to Blackburn, Ewood Park.
You could, yeah.
4 defeats on the bounce, hardly any fans in the stadium. I mean, their turnout was pathetic. Mogga didn't look confident on the sideline. You got the feeling there were problems surrounding that club. Yeah. Exactly the same as QPR. So we've gone to Blackburn. We should have done them more than 1-0. I'm confident that we will turn QPR over, and poor Stevie McLaren might even be getting the boot after the Riverside. Yeah,
I mean, there is that risk. I mean, Gala, what are your thoughts? I wouldn't take any sort of extra pride in winning the game if it meant Steve McLaren's job. I think he did fantastic things.
It's very easy to forget. I was at the match when the fan threw the season ticket in his face, and then you had the other side of the coin where we got through the European final. So yeah, he did a lot for this club, and he did a lot for the area. So I'm not one of these that are again. If we sack somebody or we transfer somebody and they don't want to go, but we transfer, we can't have a go when they come back. It's not their fault.
Yeah, exactly.
They're just earning a living, aren't they?
Yeah. So it leads us again nicely to another little selection dilemma that we've got, because obviously we've got Ayala's back from suspension. Friend's going to be out for the next couple of weeks, as far as we know. Flinty's going to be out for the next couple of weeks. What do we think is going to happen in terms of defence? Who would you play at the back? Would you go with the same? Would you just swap Ayala in for Friend?
I'm a big Ayala fan, but my problem with him is he does sometimes think he's WWF. You watch him in that box, I just think, what are you doing? You know what I mean? I'm sure he's laid on top of someone and started going 1 or 2 or halfway through it.
Yeah, tapping him out, yeah.
And the Leeds goal, if he hadn't been busy wrestling with Cooper, that wouldn't have come across and they wouldn't have equalised if you watched it. So I'd say to him, you've been sent off. I'm going to leave the team as it is, but be ready to come on. I don't think I'd start him.
I think we have to.
Yeah.
I think because George is now out. Obviously, Bat's no longer here, so or Bath or however you want to pronounce it. We don't have that central defender sitting there, ready to come in. So Ayala, I think he'll be dropped straight in.
Yeah. He does have that dangerous streak in him, though, doesn't he? He does have a challenge in him every game that's going to at least cost you a foul. Yeah, in a dangerous area, but. Whether do you think he's maybe too long in the tooth now, Gal, to get rid of that out of his game? Is it just is that how he is?
I think it's part of
He's
his
not
game.
a youngster anymore, is he?
He's a very, very good footballer. There's no two ways about that, and I am a big fan. But just now and again, I just think someone needs to take him to one side and say, "Oh, you should be setting the example. You're not really ruining it, you know." And I'm very surprised that Tony Pulis hasn't done that, because he's got a reputation for gripping people and saying sort it out. So he must be happy with it, or he'd have said something, wouldn't he?
Dave, do you think we can see the same partnership up front of Fletcher and Sambalonga?
I'm hoping so. I touched on it earlier, didn't I? Gal's right. You've got to give Fletcher a run. He was unlucky earlier in the season when he thought he was just coming in. We get a man sent off, and Big Shepherd's crook comes out and whips him off.
I felt for him.
I did. Felt massively for him. So look, he's played alongside of Sambalonga at Blackburn. We won the game. It looked promising. Let's continue it against a side who are struggling. And we should, by all accounts, put them out the game pretty early on. Let's run him. Let's give him that run.
Yeah, totally agree. We've got to start with that team intensity though, and it's been a bit of a disparity between our home form and our away form, and you touched on it at the first.
That's what's gripped me all season long, is how slow we tend to start. We'll get the ball, we'll knock it around. We're not immediately putting teams under pressure. It gives teams, if we do that at the weekend against QPR, it gives them 15 minutes. Before we even engage into top gear, for them to think, whoa, hang on, we stand a bit of chance here. Let's take a breath, let's relax. And once they do that, they're a different team. So I've always said we've got to go from the off.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll have it on the screen in a second, but we've got some upcoming fixtures for us. So obviously we've got QPR on Saturday. Looking forward, we've got some of the big boys to play, haven't we? Not necessarily big hitters in the league, but I mean, Norwich fly in. Villa are always dangerous to play. It's the age-old thing, isn't it? Every year we look at the Championship table and we say there's probably 8 or 9 teams that, if they put a run together, could challenge.
Well, we've got Bristol City, who are flying. Norwich are in there as well.
You don't know what whole team will turn up.
And a bit like Brentford as well, and they're all at home. That's the concern, isn't it?
I'd rather
the
play
big
away.
boys are all at home, and our home form is something we have to improve.
Definitely.
To stand a
but
chance.
By the same token, we said a very similar thing last month, and we were saying, we've got West Brom coming up, we've got Leeds coming up, we've got Sheffield United coming up, and we did really well those 3 games. So it's about which Boro team turn up as well, not just which Hull team turn up or which Forest team. It's about which Boro team turn up as well. So it's there's points to be won. We just need to get out there and make it happen.
Yeah.
I think it's always about the first goal for me.
Yeah.
I just think if we score the first goal, then teams have to come at us to get the equaliser. We'll smash them. But if they score and then they bank up against us, you're just looking, thinking, are we going to get an equaliser? Because we don't cross anything in.
Yeah.
We don't put a lot of crosses in, and when we do, it's sod's law. Big Bird gets on the end and heads them over the bar. Gets 12 goals for Bristol City. Comes to us and gets 1 or 2.
Do you know what?
Flint.
You couldn't.
Somebody hit the nail on the head, sat with me in the West Stand, and they said, what are we signing for? And I thought, well, my first initial thought was, and then my second thought was, we didn't really sign him for his goals. We signed him to play at the back, but he has chipped in with a lot of goals for Bristol, and he just doesn't seem to be. I don't know what the problem is. Same with Ayala. Ayala's always had a history of getting a couple.
Yeah.
Mind you, he hasn't done bad for us, Ayala, in the goals tally. Wasn't he our leading scorer at the start?
He had to run 3 games. He scored twice.
Yeah. So upcoming games. We've got a few games to go at. On that note, we do need to inform you. Unfortunately, the Wigan coach is full. We've got no more tickets. We've sold out very, very quickly. Was it a matter of days, Dave?
6 hours.
Was it 6 hours?
Tickets went on sale at 9:30. We're done by mid-afternoon.
6 hours.
Yeah.
And it's a good sized coach. Anyone that comments in and asks if it's a
57
minibus.
seats
Yeah,
we've got.
good sized coach.
But we've got one going to Villa.
I was just going to say, took the words out of my mouth there.
Meatloaf.
Contact on the screen there. If you want to give us a ring, drop us an email, send us a carrier pigeon, whichever. As long as you get your message to us, you can get a ticket for the Villa game and a ticket on the coach as well.
Get it. Let's just clarify.
Don't send
Seat
us a
on the
carrier
coach.
pigeon.
We can't give them match tickets.
Sorry.
Good
Yes,
man.
yes. Another couple of things I wanted to touch on. I don't know if you guys have spotted, but the venerable 442 magazine, best formation in the world, by the way. We've got to acknowledge that. Released this month the 50 most exciting teenagers in was it English football or British football? Middlesbrough have got three representatives. Yeah. We were talking about this before the show. A couple of them we're not really sure on because they've not made that step up to the first team, but Tav's up there.
Yeah.
We've been saying, Tav won.
Young Player of the Year.
He did,
At
yeah.
the Disabled
Supporters
Supporters
Association, yeah. So we know a little bit about Tav.
1 minute.
Tav, does he get another chance? I mean, I'm not saying he's not worthy of it, but it's another one of those headaches, isn't it, in terms of selection? Galloway, what?
I think he I don't think I'd start by bringing him off the bench.
Yeah.
He's a threat because he's got pace and he'll sniff a goal out. So I wouldn't start him, but he'd definitely be coming on a bit more than he does.
Made a difference first game of the season at Millwall. 2-0 down, brought on with Wingy.
Does seem to be doing it when he's got the chance as well, yeah. The other two were Stephen Walker, young striker.
Don't know an awful lot about him.
Well, we were talking about, again, none of us in the studio have seen him play, but he's just been handed a new contract, so obviously the club sees something in him as well. And Nathan Wood-Gordon.
Played with my son at Conyers, head and shoulders above anybody else that was on the pitch. But school football, professional football, two different things. We'll have to see how he progresses.
Yeah.
It's in the blood, isn't it, with him?
Yeah.
Family.
Dean Gordon, yeah.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. And, these players will know what it means to the fans and know what it means to represent the club, so hopefully they can make that step up as well. That's all we've got time for tonight. Thank you very much for joining us.